Hi everyone, Emily here, and today I have for you day 16 of Bookmas. And with day 16, I have an Advent unboxing, and then I'm going to show you the books that I plan on reading for the 2025 A to Z Reading Challenge. And what I tried to do with the books is I tried to figure out one, what I still needed to read for the hardest reading challenge that you'll ever do, and two, pick books that I wanted to read off of my 50 books to read before 50 books, and also books that would help me progress with some series. So that's kind of where my thinking was. But first, let's do the unboxing. So today is day 16. You could tell my advent calendar is very worse for the wear. So let me open it. Right there. Okay. And day 16 is vanilla creme brulee. So notes of vanilla custard and caramelized sugar. That sounds really delicious. Also, I need to point out a note about the lighting. So I don't have like a ring light or anything like that. In fact, my tripod is like, I have a footstool, and then I have two pillows for my sofa, and then like a little iPad holder, tablet holder that I got from IKEA. It is a dreary day here in Central Illinois. It's raining, so I apologize for the lighting. I hope I don't know if that's better at all. Probably not. But without further ado, let's get started. I'm actually going to go in reverse order simply because that's how the books are stacked. So I'm going to start at the end of the alphabet and work my way to A, just because that's how I stacked the books. So first up, in the Always Fully Booked planner, it has like a hashtag, meaning find a book with like a number in it. So that would be Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I've never read this book. Yes, I was an English major in college, but that doesn't mean that you read all the classics. Like, there's only so much that you can read. And so this one is one that I just haven't read yet, and I really do need to get to. I think most people know what this is about. This is about a man who is a fireman, but his job is to burn books rather than put out fires. So do want to read this because it's a classic. My Z I don't have. It's a book that I don't own. I was trying to find something a little bit lighter in the midst of a bunch of chunky books. And that is Zoe and the Tormented Tycoon. And how I found that book, sorry, I'm going to move. Maybe that's a little bit better. How I found that book is I just Googled books with Z in the title, and that was one that came up, and it looked interesting. Fingers crossed I can find it at the library. So there's that. Z. For Y, I want to read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson because, I backed the Kickstarter. I've heard fantastic things about it. It came with this beautiful bookmark. And this sticker. I have yet to figure out what to do with the stickers from the books because I'm just like, if I put it down somewhere and then I don't want it there, or if I put it on my laptop and the laptop dies and I'm out of that sticker. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the sticker. For now, it's staying with the book. For X is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this is about a Latina girl growing up, and it's a YA novel in verse. I've heard really good things about it. And for like some of the harder letters, like X, Z, Y, you can choose to, if the book has that letter in the title. So I figure Poet X would work. For W, that's my book that came out December 6th and is sitting in Kansas City still. And that would be Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. I'm working on Rhythm of War. I don't think I'll finish it by the end of this year. but I do plan on finishing Stormlight Archive next year because it needs to be finished. For V, I would like to read Voyage of the Basilisk by Marie Brennan. This is book 3 in the memoirs of Lady Trent. Look how gorgeous that cover is. It's kind of like Jane Austen meets, or a Victorian, like Elizabeth Gaskell meets dragons. And like the pictures remind me of Audubon. So like the audiobook is fantastic. I started listening to book 1 on audio, and the woman narrator is just brilliant. I just don't do well with audiobooks, but I need to continue on in the series. I've only read book 1, so I need to pick back up with book 2 before I can read this book. Then I hope to read for you Unblocked, which is book 8.5 in Keeper of Velocities. I do still need to read book 8, but I'm hoping to finish up as much as I can of Keeper of Velocities, because book 10, which will be the last book, is due out next year. And then for T, The Lost Metal, you can count the as either, like, I could have gotten rid of the and just said Lost Metal, but for this I'm going to do T, The Lost Metal. I do need to read this one. Well, I have to finish Rhythm of War before I read this one, I've heard from people who have read all of Mistborn Era 2 and as much as Stormlight Archive that was published prior to December of this year. So I do want to read this. I was hoping that was broken, but it's not. Okay. So The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. For S, I'm hoping to read Skin Games, which is one of the books in the Dresden Files. I don't know which number this is. I do need to read a couple other books to get to this one. So that's good. Hopefully I've been enjoying Dresden Files and I've been slowly making my way through it. And Changes was wild, and I need to make this more of a priority because I've really been enjoying my time with Harry Dresden. That was S. For R, Rhythm of War, it's somewhere else because I'm reading it, but I do plan on reading Rhythm of War. If I end up making massive progress with it in 2 weeks, because I still have 1 week of school left, and I'm only on page 200. But if I somehow manage to just blaze through it in 2 weeks that is left of this year, then I'll have to find a different R, but I don't think I'm going to finish it. I don't even know if I'll get halfway through before the end of the year. But then for Q, Queen of the Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Now, this is, I believe, book 5 in the Throne of Glass series. So yeah, I'm going to have to start the Throne of Glass series this year. And I've been meaning to ever since I finished ACOTAR. So here we go. Then I also hope to read Peace Talks. Again, this is another Dresden Files book. Don't know which number this is. So I'm not going to look in. I'm not going to talk about it because it'll be spoilery. And it will be spoilery even for me because I have not gotten that far in the series. For O, I plan on reading One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. I figure I need some lighter books in the midst of all of the heavy fantasy. And sorry, that covered my face there. So this is about, like, they both, like, are in a wedding of their friends, and she's upset that he wrote a 1-star review of her novel. And then, I don't know, the shenanigans ensue from there. So that looked cute. That's why I wanted to read it. Oh, books are sliding down. For N, and this is one of my books to read before I turn 50, North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I really loved the BBC version of this that came out in the early 2000s and thought it was beautiful. So I need to pick that up. And then for M, so I didn't realize this, but next year is the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth. So at first I was going to put middle March, but because it's the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth, I figured I need to read Mansfield Park because I just have this to read and then like Sanditon, Lady Susan, and there's a third like unfinished work. So I have those two to read. So I figured I'm going to finish off her body of work next year. Fingers crossed, but at least read this. For L, this is still that I need to read the hardest reading challenge that you'll ever do, and that's Left-Handed Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Hopefully I'll get along with it. If not, like I read Wizard of Earthsea my freshman year of high school, and I loved it. I tried reading it again, like the last couple of years, and I was like, wow, this is really slow. But I've heard really good things about this. But this is about a lone human ambassador is sent to the icebound planet of Winter, a world without sexual prejudice, where the inhabitant's gender is fluid. His goal is to facilitate Winter's inclusion in a growing intergalactic civilization, but to do so he must bridge the gulf between his own views and those of the strange, intriguing culture he encounters. This is part of a series, I believe, but like from what I understand, the books also read as like standalones. So, and then for K, this is a chunky one, but this also came from the most recent the BookTube Besties virtual reading retreat, and that is Catherine by Anya Seaton. And so this is about Catherine Swynford and John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster, and it's just about like in the 14th century. It features Chaucer, the Black Death. I think like they start off in Britain and then go to France. I don't know. But also just look at that cover. It's just a beautiful old tapestry. So then for J, we got another chunker. But I have to read this. I gotta start progress on this in January because I need to read this in winter. And winter is quickly passing by. And that would be Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. And I know that this is going to be slow going because I started it a while ago. How many pages is it? It's 840 pages, but it just looks so much bigger. But it's about, from what I understand, it's about two magicians who compete in like a Victorian England, in Victorian England. So looks, I mean, I've heard it's a beautiful, amazing work. So then for I, Emily Fox over at Books with Emily Fox has really hyped up this book, so I had to get it. And that is I Who Have Never Known Men. And this is a dystopian novel about 39 women who just live underground in a cage. And they have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time. And then I think one of them, the 40th prisoner, somehow gets out and escapes. So it sounds really good. So for H, I can either do Heir of Fire, which is another Throne of Glass book, or Air by Sabaa Tahir. I do really want to read this book, so probably this one. And I started it and then I put it down. I don't know why. I think because I wanted to give it the attention it deserves, and my brain was just not there. For G, Ghost Story by Jim Butcher. So this is the next book I need to read in the Dresden Files series after Changes, and I cannot wait to start this. So I might do Rhythm of War and then pick this up after Rhythm of War, just because I like to intersperse Massive Chunky with lighter. And then for F, I'm going to do 5 Broken Blades by May Corland. This is about 5 different assassins trying to kill a king, I believe. But here's what it has me kind of upset. So the title is 5 Broken Blades, but look at the cover. The blades don't look broken. And I can't remember, I don't know if it's the Always Fully Booked challenge or if it's Kayla's over at Books with Lala, or Books and Lala. But one of the on-the-cover challenges for next year is Something Broken. And you would think with the title, 5 Broken Blades, that they would be broken. But they don't look broken to me. But I might still use it. Because the word broken is on the cover. Right? Okay. And then for E, Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson. So this is book 2 in this series. Book 1 was Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. And in this one, our main character, he's now in Australia for like a crime writers conference or a mystery writers society conference. So of course on the train there's a murderer. Who is the murderer? So I really liked the snark in it and the breaking of the fourth wall. For D, I could have done David Copperfield because I still do need to, or Demon Copperhead, because those two I still do need to read for the hardest reading challenge that you'll ever do. However, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to finish that challenge. And I wanted a lighter book because those two are pretty heavy. So I went with a book that I really do want to get to. And this also is for the hardest reading challenge ever, is The Dead Romantics. And how this would fit in for me with the hardest reading challenge ever is you have to read a book and then a book and then books by 3 authors that blurbed the book on the cover. So this one is blurbed by Christina Lauren on the back. Who else blurbed it? Oh, Allie Hazelwood blurbed it. Yes. I could use an Allie Hazelwood book. She's got a new one coming out. Or I could use one of the Christmas books from... Okay. So then there's Christina Lauren, Gwenda Bond, Rachel Hawkins. So there's ways that I can use this one for the hardest reading challenge I'll ever do. For C, I thought about doing changes maybe with Dresden File, but I also wanted to focus on books that I won from the Book 2 Besties Virtual Retreat. And this is one that I got from the first ever virtual retreat. They're on the 5th one, and they do 2 a year. So that tells you how long I've owned this book. And it's also one that I need, like one of the 50 books to read before I turn 50. And that is Cathedral of the Sea by Ildefonso Falcones. This is translated from Spanish. And this is about a man who he is part of a guild, but he's Jewish and living in Spain. No, I'm sorry. He's not Jewish, but he's living in Spain during the Spanish Inquisition, and he falls in love with a woman who is Jewish, I believe. So, and then he faces the Inquisitor. So I've heard really good things. I love it. I've heard comparison to Pillars of the Earth, which I loved Pillars of the Earth. So that is priority read. For B, I wanted something a little lighter. And by lighter, I meant shorter, so therefore hopefully quicker to read. And that would be The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. Look how gorgeous that cover is. It's just so beautiful. And then finally for A, this is a book that for about 2 years now I keep saying that I'm going to read it. It just has not happened yet. And that is Over Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. So this fits a couple other challenges for next year as well. So yeah, that is my A to Z reading challenge. Have you read any of these books? What do you think I should prioritize first? And what are you doing any reading challenges for next year? Talk to me in the comments, and please like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.